What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're gonna be I want to talk about something, right? And that's the subject of today is Aaron Rodgers. Now, I don't know how long I'm gonna make this video. It's probably only gonna be about 5 minutes compared to the normal 16-minute runtime of videos. Sorry, I have a really bad stuffy nose, but it's probably gonna be like 5 minutes. So that means I'll upload tomorrow, definitely about my next actually. To drop a little hint about what I'm uploading tomorrow about, for all you Elder Scrolls fans, we are going to discuss the future of the Elder Scrolls tomorrow. Yeah. So strap up for a big one on Tuesday. Wednesday. We're going to have some fun discussing just what could the Elder Scrolls 6 do wrong and right, and the future be even beyond Elder Scrolls 6. Anyway, so I want to talk about this. A lot of people will sit there and try to say that they'll try to use this season as an indictment against Aaron Rodgers' career or something. And what I want to say is this. What would you say when we have this kind of season and then all of a sudden next year Aaron Rodgers comes back and we're in the playoffs again, we win the division and all that shit? Will people even bring up this year? I'm serious. Will people even bring up this year? I bet you anything they won't. Want to know why these meatheads at ESPN and all that shit won't bring it up? Because they can't use it as an indictment against his career, because they'll be like, well, I guess in reality that just was a down year. And that's it. But right now everybody wants to poke fun at it and act like it's the biggest deal ever. But you know what? That's fine. But you know what you don't see these meatheads on ESPN and freaking all the NFL Network and all these guys doing? Where's the indictment on Tom Brady? I'm just saying, Tom Brady ain't untouchable because of his 5 Super Bowl rings. I don't give a fuck. Don't get me wrong. I think Tom Brady is the GOAT, but I don't give a fuck about your 5 Super Bowl rings. You ain't untouchable when you having a down year, man. We're not gonna come at Aaron Rodgers and every other quarterback in the league when they have a down year, but the second this fool starts having a down year, we're all gonna forget about it. Fuck that. Tom Brady is looking every bit of 41 this year. Every bit of it. I'm not saying Max Kellerman's fall off a cliff kind of shit is happening, but, he ain't looking like Tom Brady. All right, if you want to deny that, then fine. Then I will say this. You can't come at Aaron Rodgers and say that he's having a down year, because then I can just deny that and be blindly faithful to the guy I like. Because, Tom Brady is looking every bit of 41. Every bit of 41. But nobody goes at him right now. The only few people that I know is shout out to my man Fist Vegas. He said it already. And I guess I don't even want to say Max Kellerman, because Max Kellerman, I don't know. I think he's just holding on. I think he's just being stubborn now, because Tom Brady hasn't fallen off a cliff in the sense that you would think. You think Tom Brady falls off a cliff and you're like, by those words alone, you kind of think, so what, he's a scrub now or something? No. But he ain't what he used to be. He's having a down year, but he also happens to have one of the greatest coaches of all time who's also having a down year. I think this is the end of the Patriots dynasty, by the way. I think last year in the Super Bowl was the last chance that they had to win a Super Bowl easily, where we could all sit there and say, there is nobody that you can't bet against the Patriots. You can't bet against the Patriots, because this year, I don't give a fuck. I'll bet against them anytime, and I've won most of these bets. Every time the Patriots are on the road this year, I've won a bet. I'm not scared. If I was the Chargers or the Chiefs, if I was the Chiefs, I would be. But if I was the Chargers, if I was, hell, even the Steelers, as we saw Sunday night, if I have to have the Patriots come to my house, I'm not scared of this fucking New England team. They can't even win. They can't win on the road. Even if I was the Dolphins, if I had to have it's not going to happen for them, but if I had to have the Patriots come to my house, I would be way more optimistic. I would say I'd give my team an 80% chance to lose. And even if they did lose, I wouldn't be how normally if New England goes up and upsets someone, we don't even call it an upset. We just go oh, it's New England doing what they do best. No. If New England beats anybody on the road, on the path to the Super Bowl this year on the road, I will say that's a disappointment for that team. Because this team, New England is looking literally like the typical team, the typical good team in a bad division. All right. So in a bad division, you have like that one team that is better than everybody else, but it's a bad division, so there's nobody competing for it. They're 9-5. They haven't even hit 10 wins yet. Normally at this point, New England will be like fucking 12-2 or some crazy crap. You know what I mean? They'll be like 12-2 or like 11-3 at the lowest. They're 9-5. Let that sink in. That means they're probably not going to the Super Bowl. So now we can start talking about the Super Bowl in the AFC. I mean, I don't know who's going to go to the Super Bowl in the AFC. I'm not trying to make this video as a hate against like Tom Brady or someone else, because I just said it earlier in the video. Tom Brady, in my opinion, is the true GOAT. I don't know how long he'll keep that title. I'm not going to say that Tom Brady will be the greatest of all time forever, because I may have grown up watching him and blah, blah, blah. Because you know what I mean? Like, I grew up watching Tom Brady, all right? When I started watching football, Tom Brady was winning Super Bowls. I always grew up loving the Packers. You know, I'll always have a special spot in my heart for Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, and blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Even the next quarterback who comes after Aaron Rodgers, I always have a special spot in my heart or brain, whatever, for that quarterback. But I grew up watching Tom Brady win Super Bowls. And I'll give him his GOAT status only because, not for the Super Bowls, but I just think he's more clutch than most quarterbacks ever. But I don't really think he's the GOAT in terms of just being the GOAT. How should I put it? Because I honestly believe that there are other quarterbacks who are just better than Tom Brady, but I just think that they just didn't have what it takes to win 5 Super Bowls. I actually truly do believe that Aaron Rodgers is way more talented than Tom Brady. I actually truly do believe that Peyton Manning was more talented than Tom Brady. But you know what they didn't have? When like Peyton Manning really didn't have like Bill Belichick. You know what I mean? He didn't have a coach like that could scheme against Tom Brady and beat him in games. Bill Belichick could do what Peyton Manning wanted to do and then like take it away from him, and that would allow Brady to beat Peyton Manning. So you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to sit there and ever say that Tom Brady is better than all these guys, because he really isn't. But the only thing that separates him from these guys is his Super Bowl rings and his clutchness. And even then, Peyton Manning overcame the bad coach. You know, that's why I think Peyton Manning's a bit better than Aaron Rodgers. At least Peyton Manning in his prime, anyway. Aaron Rodgers can't really overcome the shortcomings of the Packers. Like, he overcomes them, yes, by getting them to the playoffs, but I'm talking like Peyton Manning overcame the shortcomings of the Colts and got them a Super Bowl. He overcame the shortcomings of the Broncos and led them to a Super Bowl. Yes, I know they got blown out by the Seahawks, but come on, guys. That Seahawks team was crazy. That 2012 Seahawks team, no one was stopping them that year. I don't give a crap who you were. No one was stopping them that year. And then, yeah, like Peyton Manning overcame the bad guys. And then when it came time for a defense to rely on, for him to rely on a defense, he did that, and he won a Super Bowl. So, you know what I mean? Like, I just something about it, you know, that I don't want to say that Tom Brady's better than all those guys, because he just isn't. Now, and also you got to look at the eras of the NFL, because, again, like, you know, it's literally Tom Brady versus, like, any other quarterback as the greatest of all time is a LeBron James to Michael Jordan argument. It's always going to be that. Want to know why? Because there are so many people who grew up watching Michael Jordan, and they say that, oh, there's nothing else is like him. He's just so great. There's nothing like him. And then there's so many people that are in my generation that grew up watching LeBron James, and they're like, well, I just think that, to be honest, LeBron James is just better than him. That's not me attacking Michael Jordan and his legacy. It's just, I truly do believe that if LeBron had the same weapons that Michael Jordan had, he would have as many rings. I'm just saying. And also, let me actually attack Michael Jordan defenders. Y'all realize that Michael Jordan never had to go up against a team like the Warriors? Do y'all realize Michael Jordan never really actually had to go up against any stars? A team with any like 3 or more All-Stars? I'm just saying. Y'all want to attack LeBron because he can't beat the Warriors. Let's just wind this back. Michael Jordan had all the stars. All the stars were on the Bulls, like the core stars. And when he was going up against teams in the finals, it was like with one superstar or two. He wasn't going up against a buttload of superstars. I want you to keep that in your head that he never really actually had to beat anybody that was truly just a significant team that was better than him and his team. He always had a fair shot against folks. And so, because of that, I want to let you know that technically this dude didn't have to go up against the same shit LeBron had to go up against. But I'm going to rest my case there with the whole greatest of all time nonsense. Because that we can talk for hours and hours on that if we wanted to. But I actually plan to do a video on what makes a player the greatest of all time or in that category. Because to me, there's a few things that do it. And I won't say what they are because I don't want to really mess up that video. But there are a few things that make a player, the greatest, that in that category at least. At least of that generation as well. Because, to be honest, you can't just be called the greatest of all time based off championships. Because there's a lot of guys who get championships and they're not... Would you say that Julian Edelman is the greatest receiver of all time? No, I'm asking you, would you really say that? I'm just saying. He's been there for the majority of the Patriots Super Bowls, but would you ever say Julian Edelman is the greatest wide receiver? Would you ever say Julian Edelman is better than Julio Jones? That he's better than Antonio Brown? That he's better... And I'm not talking about championships. I'm talking about just look at their individual stats and everything else and their clutchness and everything. Would you say that he's better than any of those guys? Would you say that he's better than... I don't even think Julian Edelman's better than Devontae Adams on the Green Bay Packers. I don't even think... I'm not saying... That's no indictment against Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams is a good receiver. That's why I'm saying that. I don't even think Julian Edelman's better than him. But would you even say that Julian Edelman's better than... And if you do believe he's the greatest of all time, would you really sit there and tell me that he is better than Jerry Rice? Would you really sit there and say that he is better than Calvin Johnson or any of those guys? Because I'll have to slap someone silly. Ain't no way Julian Edelman is even in that category. All right? I don't give a fuck. I don't care how much you love Julian Edelman, Tom Brady. Ain't no way this dude is in that category. The only Patriots player that I can think of that is outside of Tom Brady that could be in the greatest of all time category is Rob Gronkowski as the greatest tight end of all time. Anyway, I just had to get this video out there because it's just annoying me to see that so many people are hating on the Aaron Rodgers and the Packers for having a down year. But yet, look at all these other teams that are having down years. And it's only because the media, the sports media has not much to report about because, there's nothing to report about this season, realistically. Like, it's all... There is stuff to report about, but I'm saying, they don't have much to speak on. And Aaron Rodgers is a name that makes headlights. So when you... Highlights, I should say. So when you put that, he sucks and he's having a down year, it creates attention and blah, blah, blah. But I guarantee you, if the Packers were to next year do what, handle their business and do what they normally do, they'll be back to dick riding him and saying that he's the greatest and all this stuff. And it's all just for, you know what I mean? All these people that sit there and hate on him, they only are doing it because it gets them views and blah, blah, blah. But as soon as the Packers start winning again, they'll be back to dick riding Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers and saying how, 2018 was just a down year and every guy has a down year. Even Tom Brady has a down year. But it just annoys me to no end seeing that there's so many other teams out there that are having down years to what we expected. And nobody talks about them. I'm just sitting there saying, nobody talks about how the Vikings... Yeah, people have talked about it, but not to this extent. People act like, everybody had the Packers winning the Super Bowl this year or something. No. Nobody with a brain had the Packers winning the Super Bowl this year, unless you were just a diehard Green Bay Packers fan. Keep in mind, I'm a diehard Green Bay Packer fan, but I'm not a fanboy. There's a difference. A fanboy is just someone who goes we can win the Super Bowl because we just are. I don't have any other reason to believe that. Now, I'm a facts first kind of guy. I'm a fan, but I'm a facts first. So what I do is I kind of be I go like, yo, we don't really match up well against the rest of the NFC. We match up decent against our own division. Not even good. I said decent. I don't expect us to really go too far. If we do make the playoffs, I expect a divisional round at best. An NFC championship game would just be a highlight of our season, and I'll be glad if we win it, obviously. But I would just be glad we fucking made it there, because I don't know how we would have. So, and keep in mind, I said if we make the playoffs. I wasn't even sold on that. So, like, you know, we're not making the playoffs, because I just had this feeling that, you know, it'd just be a down year. And, you know, especially coming off last year, I was like, we just didn't. Mike McCarthy really should have been let go after last year. And I said that's going to have an over effect on the team. The team's not going to really want to play hard if shit don't start changing. And that really did. But nobody wants to sit there and talk about how the Vikings ain't lived up to what, you know, people were saying. This is what I'm saying. Like, people act like they had the Packers, everybody the Packers win the Super Bowl. There are so many people that sat there and said, you know how annoying it was to be in Wisconsin and have all these Vikings fans saying, just start talking all this shit before the season started? And look at them now. They might not even make the playoffs either. So they might just be sitting at home with their bum asses and Kirk Cousins' bum ass sitting on the couch. So they might not even be in the picture of the Super Bowl. Like, they might not even be in the mix of things. And even if they make the playoffs, yeah, the Vikings ain't in the mix of things. Even if they make the playoffs, they're not winning the division. And so many people sat there and said that the Vikings were going to win this division. You know what? I mean, I'm glad it wasn't the Packers, but I'm glad it was the Bears. Because if it had to be somebody else, I didn't want it to be the Vikings. Because I was tired of these Vikings fans just talking so much crap because they made an NFC championship game appearance last year. Yeah, well, live in the present, buddy. You're 6-6. Or you're 7-6-1. You know, you ain't going back to no NFC championship game. You're not even winning the division. What are you going to do? What are you going to do when the playoffs start? Are you really going to think your team can go up to Seattle and win? Yeah, after you guys just basically got shut out 23-7. Yeah, okay, good luck with that one. Do you think your team is going to be able to go into Chicago and win? I don't think the Vikings are a good fit for the Bears. I think the Vikings... Actually, on paper, I think the Vikings are better than the Bears. On paper. But I think the deciding factor is Kirk Cousins and how he's allergic to winning the big games. So because of that, Kirk Cousins sucks. All right? I'm going to say it right there. Kirk Cousins sucks. He just sucks. He does. I don't care. If you can't win a big game, you suck. Because that's what I grade quarterbacks on. I grade a quarterback on, can he just get stuff done, please? Kirk Cousins, can you get a game done? Can you not throw dumbass interceptions? Can you we all like to antagonize Mitchell Trubisky for that. Where's Kirk Cousins' antagonism? Why are people saying that they don't believe in Mitchell Trubisky to do it? And I'm not a Bears fan, but I'm defending the Bears on this. How come people are sitting there saying they don't trust Mitchell Trubisky to get it done? But if the Vikings make the playoffs, Kirk Cousins, who's never won a big game, at least Trubisky can say that he beat the Green Bay Packers last Sunday. At least he can say that. Kirk Cousins, who's never won a big game in his life, is going to sit there and say, people are going to sit there and say that they trust him, that there's a chance he could get it done. And what chance in hell? This dude can't beat any team above 500. I think his first 500 win was against the Dolphins. At home. Big whoop-de-doop, the Miami Dolphins. Well, let's all throw a party. Kirk Cousins beat a 7-6 team with his season on the line, and he was at home. Big whoop-de-doop. He is so great, isn't he? Kirk Cousins is just the greatest of all time because he beat a 7-6 team at home. Yeah, get out of here. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings are done. I'm glad for it. And honestly, I'll just be rooting for the Saints from here on out because I want to see my man Drew Brees, who's the most underappreciated quarterback of all time, get his second Super Bowl. And I don't want to see the Rams win because the Rams, I think they're overrated, and I don't want to see a next generation of I mean, I don't really want to see the next generation of the Legion of Boom, basically, but an offensive version of the Legion of Boom, where it's just like, oh, we're gonna sit there and praise these guys for years on end, but they'll only win like one Super Bowl, which we want to. Like, everybody always wants to point out how that makes like every other team so inferior, and that's so bad that they only won one Super Bowl, but yet these other teams that we'll sit here and praise for years on end only win one Super Bowl, and we're like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't want another version of that. Anyway, this video's dragged on too long. It was just annoying to see all these guys just start talking crap about the Green Bay Packers, and it's just annoying to see that. Yet they failed to sit there and realize that no one really had the Packers doing much of anything this season. If you actually have a brain in football, you said that the Packers may be a 10-6 team at best. At best, they are a 10-6 team. At worst, a 7-9 team. And that's what it's looking like we're gonna be. It's looking like we're gonna be 8-8 or 7-9. You realize that, like, if you had a brain. Now, if you were a diehard Packers fan plus fanboy, you would have been like, we're winning the Super Bowl. But that's the fanboys. Fanboys are always going to be that for every team. There's even Cleveland Browns fans that will probably sit there and hope that they'll win the Super Bowl. But either way, I just wanted to shed some light on this topic. What do y'all think? Do y'all really think that, that the Packers are the only team in the league that disappoint, and that the Vikings and all these other teams that we thought, the Jaguars and all these other teams that we thought were going to be so great and all this shit, and they haven't done shit else, are, they're just free to magically escape the realm of criticism because they don't have Aaron Rodgers or some other great quarterback? Yeah, fuck Kirk Cousins, he's a little bitch. Exactly, they just pissed me off. Anyway, had to vent on that. Y'all have a great day, and see you tomorrow with Elder Scrolls content.